Pick it up.
Yeah, they have to do it every year.
Okay, 6 o'clock. On a Pompey organizational meeting will come to order. All please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first thing on the agenda is to appoint Harris Beach as our attorney.
Okay, I'll make a motion. We appoint Harris Beach as the attorney for the town.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Harris Beach as our attorney for the town. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Adopt the following procedures and policies.
We can
I'll do a
one motion for all of us,
consent
can't we?
agenda on these.
List them
We do a
all.
consent agenda and just say we're gonna for five.
Yeah, if you want, you can,
Make a motion to
All right, we'll
adopt.
do them one at a time.
yeah, if you could, well, you can do a comprehensive resolution. If somebody wants to read through all these and then make the motion after reading through all of them, that's fine.
Or do you want to go? Is it easier to do?
Maybe it's just easier just to take
All
one
right.
at a time.
I'll make a motion. We adopt and affirm the procurement policy.
We're gonna do one at a time.
You wanna do
Okay.
it? Let's list them all. List them all right in the motion.
Okay, all right, so I'll make a motion, we affirm the procurement policy, the investment policy, the scrap metal policy, the fee schedule, the employee handbook, the travel policy, the credit card policy, the set 6 hours as standard workday for part-time elected officials, part-time employees, code enforcement officer, approve payment of postage, utility bills, and health insurance premiums prior to board audit, adopt rules of decorum.
There you go. Motion made to affirm the procurement policy, the investment policy, the scrap metal policy, fee policy, employee handbook, travel policy, credit card policy. Set 6 hours as the standard workday for part-time elected officials, part-time employees, and code enforcement officer. Approve payment of postage, utility bills, and health insurance premiums prior to town board audit, and adopt the rules of decorum. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
The one that states prior to town board audit, is that what we were talking about earlier, Tom?
It is, but we have sent letters to all the people that were charging us late fees to change the billing date, as well as MBT Bank and the credit cards. So that should be resolved, but if it's not, this gives us the approval to pay them without paying late charges.
Right, which would be awesome. Can we pay bills prior to vouchers being signed by board members?
No.
So that, I question that one.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a voucher system, the vouchers do need to come to this board for approval when they're ready, so. I mean, you can pre-authorize an amount if you want, but do we have a rough idea of what the amount is we're talking about here?
Yeah, because there's a whole lump sum of categories here. Postage, utility. I would love to be able to do that. I just want to make sure that we're on the up and up about it. If we can't do that without vouchers being signed, I think that needs to be removed out of there.
I mean, do we have any idea what the amount is we're talking about here? Just.
Not much.
Got bills right there. I mean,
$5 on one and $19 on another.
And what are the late charges that we're talking about?
Yeah.
That's the late.
Oh, that is a late charge.
that's like.
I mean, I prefer, I know it's a little bit more of a headache. Let's do it the way we do with all our other bills. We wait for a voucher to come in, do it via the
So we
voucher.
remove that.
So
from
just
the
remove
motion.
that from the resolution. Yep.
Okay, we will remove the approved payment of postage, utility bills, and health insurance premiums prior to town board audit. So we have the motion in a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All say no. Motion carried. Next,
I'll make a motion to make the following appointments. Eastern Shore Associates as broker of record. Dunn and Segrono, I think, Engineers PLLC as engineer for the town. MBT Bank and NICLAS as official banks. Post Standard as a legal newspaper. Veronica Wholetailing as web manager. Subject to approval of 2025 letter of engagement not to exceed $7,000. Net Manage as IT manager. Subject to approval of 2025 letter of engagement not to exceed $3,000.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to make the following appointments. Eastern Shore Associates as broker of record. Dunn and Segrono Engineers, PLLC as engineer for the town. NBT Bank and New York Class as official banks. The Post Standard as legal newspaper. Veronica Wholetailing as web manager, subject to approval of 2025 letter of engagement not to exceed $7,000. And Net Manage as IT manager, subject to approval of 2025 letter of engagement not to exceed $3,000. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no.
Paying the engineer.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Next.
I'll make a motion that the mileage reimbursement rate for travel for town business remains at 70 cents per mile.
Thank you.
And the regular meeting date and time for town boards will be the second Tuesday of each month at 6:30.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to set the following mileage reimbursement rate for the travel for town business at 70 cents per mile. Regular meeting date and time for town board will be the second Tuesday of each month at 6:30. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
Okay, I'll make a motion to appoint Tim Barrett as code enforcement officer. Compensated $74,000 per year.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Tim Barrett as code enforcement officer to be compensated at $74,000 per year. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
Make a motion to appoint Nikki Reed as a marriage officer.
I'll second it.
Motion made to appoint Nikki Reed as marriage officer. Oh, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
I'll make a motion to appoint Alma Hartnett as deputy town clerk to be compensated at $16.40 per hour, not to exceed $7,000 per year.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Alma Hartnett as deputy town clerk to be compensated at $16.40 per hour, not to exceed $7,000 per year. Any discussion? All in
No.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
Question?
I did have a quick question.
Um,
Do we appoint deputy town clerk? I thought Nikki does that. I'm not sure that should. That's Nikki's job.
We have to approve the pay.
We have to
Confirm
approve
it.
the pay,
You're,
right?
you're essentially confirming the appointment. That's what you're doing.
Next.
I'll make a motion to appoint Kim Emery and Ken Stevan as justice court clerks to be compensated $5,000 each per year. The judges appoint their clerks, and the town board ratifies their appointments.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Kim Emery and Ken Stevan as justice court clerk to be compensated $5,000 each per year. The judges appoint their clerks, the town board ratifies their appointments. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
Yeah, I make a motion, we set the stipend for each member of the planning board, zoning board, and environmental conservation commission at $200 per year.
I'll second it.
All right, I don't have that.
It's number 12.
I
top
can't
left.
remember, I can't remember all that.
Here, you want mine? I can read up James.
I gave him
I
Oh,
got
okay.
it. Motion made and seconded to set the stipend for each member of the planning board, zoning board, and environmental conservation commission at $200 per year. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All say no. Carried.
I'll make a motion to set the stipend for each member of the board of the Board of Assessment Review at $125 per meeting attended.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to set the stipend for each member of the Board of Assessment Review at $125 per meeting attended. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
I will make a motion to appoint Carl Farren Krug Jr. to the planning board. His term expires 12/31/31.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Carl Frankenberg Jr. We're gonna have butchered up. To the planning board, term expires 12/31/31. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we appoint Dave Tessier to the zoning board of appeals. Term expires 12/31/29.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Dave Tessier to the zoning board of appeals. Term expires 12/31/29. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
Wait a minute, who motioned and seconded?
I did.
Dave made the motion.
And
James.
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 Yeah, I second.
Thank you.
I'll make, ready?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to appoint Craig Dennis, Kathy Bertog, Bertucci, and Adam Scalisi to Environmental Conservation Commission. Terms expire 12/31/26.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Craig Dennis, Kathy Bertucci, and Adam Scalisi to Environmental Conservation Commission. Terms expire 12/31/26. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
I'll make a motion to appoint Ray Randall to the Board of Assessment Review. His term expires 9/30/29.
I'll second it.
Motion made to appoint Ray Randall to the Board of Assessment Review. Term expires 9/30/29. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Carried.
I make a motion to
Excuse me,
appoint,
can we ask a question on this appointment? Just a point of order for council to review. I just have a question. It appears as though this next appointment, replacing a member of the zoning board and the deputy clerk also on the board of ethics, is that? Could council answer for the public whether or not?
I don't think
That's
John's on
possible.
the zoning board anymore, is he? He is.
I think he is.
I thought he stepped down.
Well, if there's a matter pertaining to the zoning board or planning board, there may be a conflict, but not generally,
What
so.
about the deputy clerk?
If it's a matter pertaining to the deputy clerk, then there could
They
be
would
a
have to
conflict
recuse
there.
themselves.
Yeah, there would have to be a recusal there, but I don't think
Okay,
she's
thank you.
as a per se, not able to be on the ethics committee.
Thank you for
Thank you.
asking.
Yeah, thank you.
Next.
Go ahead.
All right, I make a motion to appoint the ethics committee, Don Nugebauer, Alma Hartnett, and Deborah Rapp.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Don Nugenbauer, Alma Hartnett, and Deborah Rapp to the Ethics Committee. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
I'll make a motion to appoint Sue Smith as chairman of the planning board, chairwoman of the planning board, Dave Tessier as chairman of the zoning board, and Phil George as chairman of the environmental commission. Each to receive a stipend of $500 per year.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Sue Smith as chairwoman of the planning board. Dave Tessier as chairman of the zoning board and Phil George as chairman of the environmental conservation commission. Each to receive a stipend of $500 per year. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
Okay,
Carried.
so 20, what's the difference between 20 and 17? They both appoint Ray Randall to the chairman, to the board.
One's
This
for
one's-
the
Board and one for
One
the chair.
term and
All
one.
right, thank you. All right, I make a motion to appoint Ray Randall as chairman of the Board of Assessment Review, to receive a stipend of $250 a year.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Ray Randall as chairman of the Board of Assessment Review to receive a stipend of $250 per year. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
All right, I'll make a motion to appoint Sarah LaJudas as secretary to the planning board to be compensated an hourly rate of $16.40 up to a maximum of $22.50 per year.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Sarah Lagutis as secretary to the planning board to be compensated at an hourly rate of $16.40 up to a maximum of $22.50. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
I make a motion to appoint town supervisor.
No, you're up.
We
one.
missed one,
Oops,
James.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna make a voice, appoint Sarah
The Judas.
Lajunas as secretary of the zoning board to be compensated an hourly rate of $16.40 per hour up to a maximum of $14.60 per year.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Sarah Lagutis as secretary of the zoning board to be compensated at an hourly rate of $16.40 up to a maximum of $1,450 per year. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
So this next one. How does this work?
The acting supervisor.
So,
So just, I would just insert acting supervisor, so appoint acting town supervisor, or the way I would do it
Hash
is,
mark supervisor.
correct, yep.
Yep.
So it'd be motion to appoint town supervisor / acting supervisor to be a 2025 representative to OSEBA for communication purposes.
Okay.
Okay, I make a motion to appoint the acting supervisor / supervisor to be the 2025 representative of SEBA for communication purposes.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to appoint the town supervisor / acting supervisor
Probably
to
right.
be a 2025 representative to OSEBA for communication purposes. Any discussion?
Yeah,
she should be.
it should be
Should
not
say
acting
deputy or-
supervisor, it should be deputy supervisor. Thank you,
If
Greg.
we want to be clear for legal purposes, that's fine. We can say deputy, he is acting, he's deputy supervisor, he's acting as supervisor. I mean, to be clear, if we want to say deputy supervisor added into the resolution, that's fine.
Thank you.
Deputy supervisor.
Yeah.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Points. Excuse me. Motion carried.
Okay.
I will make
Supervisor
the
appointments are
motion.
next, which, so Tom has to do, and I already
Okay.
clarified that he can do this.
So it would be deputy supervisor appointments.
Okay.
Need a motion?
Yep, so I'll make a motion.
But it's a supervisor appointment. He has to make the.
Oh,
No, we're voting on allowing him to do it, correct?
You're
So we're
ratifying
making-
his
Okay,
appointments,
go
correct?
ahead, James.
all right. I make a motion for the deputy supervisor / supervisor appointments, accounting firm of FP Pompo and Company, PC as bookkeeper to be compensated $52,800 per year. Ruth Hoteling historian to be compensated $1,800 per year.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded for the deputy supervisor appointments, accounting firm of FJ Pompo and Company PC as bookkeeper to be compensated at $52,800 per year. And Ruth Hoteling and historian to be compensated at $1,800 per year. Any discussion?
No,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
I make a motion to authorize for the following for 2025, a $500,000 bond for the supervisor, town clerk, and a $50,000 bond for all others. Highway superintendent to spend up to $8,000 without prior approval, subject to the procurement policy. Petty cash fund of $125 for town clerk / tax collector. Petty cash fund for $125 for justice court. The supervisor to spend up to $1,000 without approval.
Supervisor, I would just add in supervisor / deputy supervisor next to every time that the board supervisor is mentioned in this resolution.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to authorize the following for 2025. $500,000 bond for supervisor and town clerk. and $50,000 bond for all others. Highway superintendent to spend up to $8,000 without prior approval, subject to procurement policy. Petty cash fund of $125 for town clerk / tax collector. Petty cash fund of $125 for justice court. And deputy supervisor to spend up to $1,000 without prior approval. Any discussion?
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
I'll make a motion, we appoint Bob Purcell as deputy highway superintendent to be compensated at his regular salary.
Actually, we're giving BR the appointment. We're not appointing Bob, we're giving BR the ability to.
Okay,
It's a highway.
You wanna read?
why don't you do it?
No, I got an appointment,
Okay,
so appoint myself for deputy highway superintendent upon board approval. Now you guys just got to
Yep,
approve.
you would appoint, so you guys go ahead and just confirm. So motion to confirm the appointment of Bob Purcell as deputy highway superintendent to be compensated at his regular salary. That's the motion.
I'll second it then.
Sure.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Bob Purcell as deputy highway superintendent to be compensated at his regular salary. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried. It's the end of the agenda for the organizational meeting. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Good question.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Questions? It didn't look like the town board meetings have been set. I would like to ask a question of the board. That was in the board.
That was-
The first. Did you always set, did you set it there like Tuesdays or Mondays?
Yeah, it's number,
Number 7.
Sorry, I guess I missed that.
yeah, it's under number 7, correct?
Thank you. I just like to ask, I guess, in the, there's a comment at the end of this meeting. The town board meetings in this community for 4 generations were held on the first Monday of every month. Like the board to consider moving them back to Monday evenings. But just a question. Thank you very much.
Okay,
All right.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn the organizational meeting.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn the organizational meeting. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Say no. Carried. We got a 6-minute break.
6-minute break, perfect. Yeah, I didn't know. I thought.
So, yeah, I thought we were giving.
Yeah. Wait, good choice. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks, Dave.
I didn't even ask him.
Okay, so.
He's the lucky winner.
Discussing.
move along and we can, get on with it.
Yeah, we'll table this.
If we're in an executive session or something.
After the regular meeting.
Yeah, but before you do,
Yeah.
you have to make sure.
I'll announce it just before we adjourn. Okay, the meeting will come to order. Would please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
James, you want to tell us about the death of the
Yeah.
town?
Yep, for a moment of silence, we have two town members. Bill Lang, he actually died in November. But I missed that one, so I want to have a moment of silence for him, and Ted Schultz. So we have two members, so a moment of silence for them, please.
Thank you. First thing on the agenda to discuss fill vacancy for the town supervisor for the remainder of 2025. Have at it.
Okay. James, Dan, do you guys want to go or just want me to jump in
Look,
the discussion on item number one?
no, I don't think we have anybody right now to appoint. We haven't.
Okay,
No. So. Willingness was there for a few of us, but it got sidestepped, so. I guess you guys are gonna have to start your process and then I'll jump in.
okay, so.
You wanna go?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say that, you know, there, obviously, everybody knows there was an unexpected vacancy when Mark resigned and Tom stepped in to help us. I think Tom's done a great job for us overall, receiving emails, returning emails, making calls, following up. You know, we went up and looked at your lighting situation together last month. You know, so far, based on my involvement in the board, Tom's done a nice job.
Well, and I'll certainly say I've spoken with highway codes and the clerk's office, and they unanimously support Tom. So I know that that's important for me. They're the people that run this town, and you know, certainly that would influence my decision.
I'm happy that Tom stepped up. I think he's exceeded what the expectations would have been. But as far as supervisor, I think that he has also brought a political aspect back to the town that we tried so hard to get away from. Being the chair of the committee, and two of us have offered to step up into that position, and through discussion, it was made clear that it would not be, how do I politically say this? Would not be politically correct to support somebody, A, who was not on the Republican Party, or potential ramifications down the road. So I like Tom. I do think he's doing a good job filling the shoes, but I'm not sure we want that political aspect running the town that we tried to get out of the small town. This is a small town to get into the big political aspect of it all. I'm not for it. So that's just my piece.
I myself also have seen Tom do a very good job, much better than expected, or you know, it was, the things have gone very well since Mark stepped down. I also at this point am not ready to vote for a supervisor to put him in, or for anybody yet. We have had other people, you know, two other people on the, considered it. We seem to be a little bit of a impasse is the best way I can word it as far as coming up with a real good candidate, honestly. Well, real good, a person that everybody can agree on. I think this is a very divisive subject, and I think he is doing a good job, and I think if, as long as he is willing to keep doing it as deputy, the way I understand the legal things is, he can keep doing that position as long as necessary. I believe he should be compensated for the work he's doing, and I think we should keep going. The only thing I understand from talking to all the legal things he can't do is vote, which means that things can go along just fine, and he's doing it fine, and I support him doing that, and let a little, I believe more time should be allowed to let the political climate calm down before a nomination or a vote is done. So I'm not in support of making a vote tonight.
Joe, can he fill in as the deputy and be compensated?
Yeah, I mean, I'll defer to Jim on it, but you have a budget line in your budget for deputy supervisor. I don't know if there's anything in that budget or not, but you can certainly make a budget transfer to put money into that line.
Budget modification transferring from the supervisor's salary to the deputy. I would not oppose that.
So we're asking the deputy supervisor to essentially do all the roles and responsibilities of an elected supervisor, including hosting, chairing meetings, answering the public, which I agree he should be compensated for, whether it was Tom or anyone else in Tom's position. The question I have for the board, and you know, I think it's a good idea that we're doing this publicly, is why wouldn't we want to give the deputy supervisor who's acting as a supervisor in the previous elected supervisor position, that person had a vote. He's the CEO of our town.
The deputy supervisor was not elected by the people, the supervisor was.
It's very much in my mind, like Bill and I were talking about earlier today. Share your analogy.
Well, just if a president, we lose a president, you know, there's a vice president. That vice president wasn't elected by the people, correct?
Vice president was voted for.
Yeah.
Yeah, the vice president is on the ballot when you're voting for him.
You're cast a vote. Do we cast a vote?
Well,
No, let me just say one thing. You were appointed on the town board.
I was,
Did you have a vote?
I did,
Were you elected?
I was not.
Thank you.
And for the record, I abstained from that vote for the same reason I'm prepared to abstain from this one, which I did back then.
Can I just ask a quick question? I'm curious if the deputy supervisor doesn't get a vote, I see 4 people. What do we do for a tiebreak?
You need a core, you need 3,
They
it's gotta be
have to be
majority of all
defeated.
positions.
Majority, okay,
So
thank you,
that's-
just curious.
it has to be 3 yeses.
Okay,
So.
I think we need to have more conversation between us, and Dave, you and I have talked.
Mhm.
But
It would be best if those conversations took place in front of the public. They can't take place.
That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, discuss it in front.
and it's
of
what we're doing
appreciated,
now.
it's appreciated.
And that is
Yeah.
part, you know, I am not against it, and I may at some point come along and say he should be supervisor, but right now I believe it's a bad idea.
For $1 million up here in budgetary monies that the voters of the community.
You're out of order, Greg. Please
Okay.
be quiet.
So appreciate the sentiment, but it's not comment section yet, but, I don't like the strong political aspect that's been brought into making this decision. Okay, I at one point was willing to step up, and I even had a little support at first. And then, all of a sudden the tables turned, and Dave was willing to step up, and then the mind was changed, and I really truly believe that it's driven by the political party, and I think it's driven by upcoming election, and
You've said that twice. Why do you think it was politically driven? And I can explain the premise of my decision, which again is.
That's
I've
great, because you and I
spoken to
really
different
haven't,
departments.
you and I really haven't talked
But I'm
about.
trying to understand why you keep coming back to this, the basis by which we're the stalemate is purely politically driven.
Well, when innuendos are made that if you go this way, then you're at risk of being endorsed by the party at the next election, or, you know, just those types of things. I want somebody that's got the town first, politics after that, okay? And if Tom's that person, great. But if the only reason to move the way we're moving is because it has to be, we'll only support a Republican or we'll only support a Democrat. I'm not for that. I'm about the town. I'm not about the politics.
Well, have you spoken with the codes people or the clerks, either highway or codes?
No,
Well, they're talking-
Nikki has said that she's working well with Tom. Okay, and no, I have not talked to BR about it. Okay, and I'm not saying he's doing a bad job, all right? I just, they don't like the political part of it.
This job,
I guess,
this
I mean,
job
Mark's-
is political. You run as a political person from a party and you get elected by the people. That's what this job is.
Right, you're elected by the people.
That's right.
correct.
And if you can't get elected because somebody resigned, then the board appoints, just like they appointed Dave, and he got the vote. So just let me make it clear. If I don't have the power to vote, and I'm required to do all the duties of the CEO of the town, and answer all the phone calls and all the email, and deal with all of the federal and state and county agencies, and do all the work, and I don't have a vote, I'm not interested in this position.
Resign.
So then, nobody talking to you, Mr. Hurley. Keep your mouth shut.
Let's try to stay in order, okay? There's public comment section at the end. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we do have a matter that needs to be resolved. And the matter is, we need a acting town supervisor, whether it's deputy acting town supervisor, supervisor, acting, whatever terminology we want to use. We need somebody to help lead this town and get through the next year until we get through the November elections. And then you can run, I can run, whoever wants to run can run, and we'll let the voters sort it out. In the meantime, we have a pretty critical matter that needs to be resolved. I don't know how. Mark was a Republican, Tom's a Republican. Tom was nominated as part of the deputy supervisor role by a Republican. I don't know what changes other than Tom wasn't elected by the public.
Mhm.
I mean, the party's the same. So.
I mean, I basically absolutely agree with you on that department. But the real elephant in the room is the fact that right now, out there in all the parties, they're all selecting their candidates. And there's no doubt out there in my mind that this is going to be considered a political appointment, not the best for the town. You know, I believe there, what's the, this could happen next month or the month after, but it's happening now, and I don't think it's an act.
Well, how do we, well, no, I don't agree with that because it's a new year and we have to have someone step up. We just did the organizational meeting. I don't know how this is different. Cause I don't think, Joe, don't we have to make some kind of action for Tom to continue to stay on?
He can continue to stay on in his role as he is right now, until the next supervisor takes office after the election. So, no, you don't have to He can continue in the role as deputy supervisor.
He can control it, he can continue as deputy supervisor. We could make a budget allocation from supervisor to deputy supervisor.
So basically, the difference between what he is now and what he would be appointed to if he was supervisor is voting power. Is essentially what it comes down to.
Okay,
You know, he would function as the supervisor, as deputy supervisor, because we don't have a supervisor. And under state law, under town law, if there is no supervisor, the deputy supervisor steps into those shoes and has those powers, except for voting power. That's the big exception we're talking.
And it's something that we could change our mind
Yeah, and
later.
if you want to,
If
Yeah,
we're
make
this
the vote
indecisive
to-
now, then I don't think it would be prudent for us to make a rash decision that we end up not happy with, and. Hey, this is a democracy, that's just my point of view, my opinion, there's,
I think the board should put it to a vote. Yea or nay?
well. I mean, I think. We have a problem if we vote and it doesn't turn out where we appoint you as the acting supervisor. And you don't want to do the job, then we got a problem.
I think we continue discussing it and bring it up next month.
So you want to move to table it? James,
I make a motion to, we continue discussing more and able to next month.
Thereby we run the risk that Tom just
Says no.
doesn't come.
run the risk of what, Bill?
That Tom doesn't come. That we just fly without.
Well, if we're willing to compensate him and for all of the work that he said that he's doing, the only thing is the voting power, we're willing to compensate him for everything else. And we're putting the town first, then I guess that's his decision.
Well, that wasn't what,
That
that
he
wasn't.
would have to appoint somebody, and then obviously it wouldn't be him. So it would be.
I think I've proven I put the town first before politics. I think I've proven that. If you don't think so, say it.
Well, you and I haven't really talked about anything.
I'm gonna talk to you about
Exactly. Exactly.
Also, the reason why I see it is political, and not because I don't like Tom or don't like anything else, but this is political. I'm sorry.
I do like
it. Lord is political.
Of course it is. That's why.
Good Lord.
In an effort to make sure that we still have somebody leading our town. I'm gonna put a motion on the table and you can. I don't know if you're gonna agree with it or not. I make a motion that we make Tom the deputy. We continue with Tom as the deputy supervisor. We pay him the supervisor salary to do the roles and responsibilities. And we readdress the voting at the next meeting.
I'll second.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Tom Henry as deputy supervisor. The salary of the supervisor.
Correct. And that we would revisit the voting discussion at the next
At the
meeting.
and table until the next meeting. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All say no. Carry. Okay, accounting report. Jim?
Yeah. Pay about it this month. Why did we not see basis? Stays off the road, so. But I don't know, so.
What did you do with the game bill?
These are bills that we're supposed to pay out
Yes,
that we own,
yes.
and so they need to be added to the, we haven't gone over bills yet, so.
Are they already on the abstract?
No, they're in here unopened in my folder for today.
Okay.
Did you want me to open them? Or want me to open them?
Is there a current abstract that we already have that this can be added to?
Is it up there?
All the bills are up there. I just,
This time it just initial waivers. I don't know why they weren't with the rest of the. But yeah, wait till next month's meeting, there's some of these. That was ridiculous.
but 1 cent.
Well, I got the winner, 163.66. I wish it was a lot of.
So in essence, we have to pay our own property taxes.
It goes to the county.
Yeah.
It does? All right, so do we need to make a motion? if
I
we
would
add
just initial them as if it's a voucher, and I'll add them
Do it up on the top, but not on
Where?
the payment part.
Where,
somewhere.
where'd you put it?
Up here. This is just the payments.
Just initial, or should we write up a main?
Whatever you normally do on a voucher.
Tax bill.
163.66 and 93 cents. They're the tax bills for us. For the town. So. Do you want me to make a motion to pay these three?
They can be included with the.
Rest of the bill. Yeah, rest of those.
Okay, back to business. Everybody's a copy of the supervisor's report for the month of December. You request a motion to approve that report.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. We approve the report.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve the accountant's monthly report. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried. Second, you to request a motion to approve the supervisor's December bank reconciliation.
I'll make a motion to approve the bank reconciliation for December for the supervisor's statement.
Your second.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to accept the bank reconciliations and supervisor. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried. Third, handful of budget modifications, just to clean things up for the end of the year. These are all relatively small. First, to cover higher than anticipated postage costs for property tax bills, we're moving $540 from contingency to tax collection contractual. Second is to cover higher than expected cost of attorney. We need to move $100 from contingency to attorney contractual. Third is to cover the cost of higher than expected hours for the highway secretary, moving $800 from contingency to central garage clerk. Fourth, we are covering higher than expected expenses for the highway garage. We're moving $300 from contingency to central garage contractual. Next, we're moving $750 from contingency to unallocated insurance to cover higher than expected costs, mostly due to new vehicles that were purchased this year. So that's $750. Next, cover higher than expected mileage reimbursements for code enforcement officer and other expenses, and moving $400 from zoning, or I'm sorry, from contingency to zoning contractual line. Lastly, we are moving $1,070 from contingency to workers' compensation and unemployment insurance to cover higher than expected costs in those lines. There's a second modification or another modification for the highway fund that we don't need to make that you can disregard on your list. So make a motion to approve those modifications.
I'll make a motion. We make those modifications as you just read, because I won't remember them all. Yeah, perfect. I'm in. Thank you.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve all the modifications. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
Okay, still in the process of closing out 2024, but some relatively good news. We received $126,340, the last installment from mortgage tax for last year. That brings the total to $203,000, which is $63,000 more than budget. As it stands right now, we're still working, like I said, through year end, but we're forecasting about $115,000 surplus in the general fund and about a $70,000 surplus in the highway fund. So overall, it's looking like a fairly good year. Like I said, we're still got some cleanup to do, but we're in pretty good shape. NICLAS interest for the month, $5,549, brings the total interest income up to $115,106 for all of 2024. So that's all I have. But like I said, all in all, a fairly good year finance wise for the town last year.
It's great.
Great.
Thanks. Nice job, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, Alma, you ready for the town clerk's report?
We're asking for acceptance of the 12:10 regular meeting and the 12:16 special board meeting minutes.
Okay.
The bank reconciliations for December 24, town clerk and tax collector, and the payment of bills.
Okay, I'll make a motion for item number 3, clerk report, board acceptance, bank reconciliation, and payment of bill.
I'll second it.
Right, if in the payment of bills, we have to make sure Jim knows there's one, I found where there's one invoice that's in twice. Okay, so.
Just cross that out. So
And then we have another, voucher that's totally missing, that's on the,
Abstract.
abstract, but there's no voucher in the.
no vouchers,
For hot welding.
yeah. I see.
Yeah, and the duplicate she was talking about is for $10.95.
Yeah.
Plus,
He's a
do
good
we need
finisher.
to mention about in this payment of bills for doing them extra?
In the motion, just, make mention plus the additional property tax invoices.
Okay.
So,
Plus the additional 3 property tax bills of, what was it, a penny, 163.66, and what was yours? The dollar?
90 some cents.
96 cents, 90 whatever cents. There you go. There you go.
Do I hear a second?
second it,
Motion made and seconded for the clerk's report. Board acceptance of the 12/10/24 regular meeting minutes and 12/16/24 special meeting minutes. Bank reconciliation for December 2024. Clerk, tax collector, and payment of bills, with the exception of what you said.
$10.95.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All say no. Carried. Supervisors report. Appoint supervisor as delegate to Associations of Towns Annual Meeting at New York Marquee, February 16th through 19, 2025. And authorize supervisor to sign both contracts with CNY SPCA for dog control and for the prevention of cruelty of animals for 2025 in the amount of $7,452.
Okay.
How would it usually?
I'm,
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that's what it was, yes.
I make a motion to appoint acting supervisor as delegate to the Associations of Towns Annual Meeting at the New York Marquees, February 16th to 19th, and also to authorize supervisor to sign both contracts for CNY SPCA for dog control and for the prevention of cruelty of animals for 2025 in the amount of $7,452.
For purposes of being specific and clarity, let's just say deputy supervisor for both.
Deputy, all right.
Here a second.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to appoint a deputy supervisor as delegate to Associations of Towns Annual Meeting in New York Marquee, February 16th through 19, 2025. And authorize deputy supervisor to sign both contracts with CNY SPCA for dog control and for the prevention of cruelty of animals for 2025 in the amount of $7,452. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
Do we have to do anything with the email you sent out to us with the sheriff's contracts, or will that be next month?
Oh, that'll be next month.
Thank you.
And the codes officers. Code enforcement officers report. And that's posted on the website. I think we need a motion to accept it.
I make a motion to accept.
It says it's not on the website, so we need to find out.
It's not.
It's not?
No.
I don't have it.
I'll give you a copy of mine.
Well, if someone can just send me a PDF of that, that'd be great.
Yep.
Thanks, Veronica.
Yeah.
Who's gonna send it to her? I can do it. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Perfect, thank you.
I'll send it to her.
All right, thanks. So,
Need a motion to accept it.
Accept the codes officer enforcement report, right?
yeah, I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve the code enforcement officer's report. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
Does anybody want to see this?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
VR, you're up.
I only have one thing. I'm looking for board approval for the agreement for the expenditure of highway monies pursuant to the provisions of section 284 of the highway law. We agree that monies levied and collected in the town for the repair and improvement of highways and received from state and state aid for the repair and improvement of all highways. Basically, what this is just a contract between the highway superintendent, the board, the supervisor, and the taxpayers that this money that is collected will be used solely for road repairs and not anything else. Did I get that right, Joe?
You got it right. It's a New York State legal requirement.
Yeah.
So
And I'll need signatures if you guys approve.
we need a.
It has to be filed with the clerk.
So we just go through that.
Yeah, motion to approve, motion to authorize the
Yeah.
town board to sign the, was it a 284 agreement?
It's a 284.
Yeah, to sign the 284 agreement as presented by the highway superintendent.
Make a motion to accept the 284 agreement.
Yeah, to approve and sign the 284 agreement presented by the highway superintendent.
Presented by the highway superintendent.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve the 284 agreement. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried. Now we have public comment. Do we have anybody to sign the form?
So you guys sign.
Yes, I think.
What?
Debbie Grenier?
Just one?
Just, I know every month since October, we've been talking about lighting up at Heritage Hill. It's been shining into some residents' homes. I wondered if the board had a chance to address that with, somebody mentioned something about it earlier, if the lights are still on, shining into the residents' rooms, or if that ended. I'm just wondering about that.
No, I don't.
You okay if I answer?
You go ahead.
Yeah, so last meeting we committed to go. Diana and I went and looked at it. Then a week later, I went up again with my wife. And then a week after that, it was James and Tom and myself went up and looked at it again. So we've been up there 3 or 4 different times. And then I went again Friday night.
Were they on?
One light is on, which is behind the barn. And is that the one you're referring to? Okay, I gotta be honest, I think the light in your driveway is much brighter than the light that I'm looking at. If it's the same one, Jim, I went and looked at it, there's 3 down facing lights, which is compliant with dark sky. And it points straight down, and there's 1 of 3 that are on the back of the barn. I just want to make sure we're talking about the same thing.
I don't want to take Deb's time, but the light in my driveway goes off after 3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, the light at Heritage Hill that shines into our bedroom is on every night, whether the business is open or not.
Correct.
So
And
you can say it shines down.
Yeah.
but we're a quarter mile away and it's shining in our room, in our bedroom window, so I don't know how it can be shining straight down.
We're gonna, I mean, personally, we're gonna agree to disagree, because I don't see it as an issue. And I don't think there's anything that Heritage can do. Really, it's a security issue.
I think,
The whole back
I
of the
think maybe
barn.
the other 800 lights around the facility probably take care of the security issue.
This is,
All you gotta do is turn that one light off.
Which he was told to do according to Tara. He had 30 days.
Okay, also I want to talk about, I see another $70,000 in attorney fees, last year was over 100,000 spent. I think that's a little excessive. We used to pay 2,000 a month. Now we're paying 100,000 a year, 70,000 a year. I just think that's excessive. Third issue, last month I was here on the 16th, and I talked about, I was upset hearing that Tom Henry was the acting supervisor. And I voiced my concerns about having him appointed as the permanent, or, the supervisor that was gonna be having voting power, and I can see that he's, I thank Diane and James for not wanting to get political, but he appears to not want to serve unless he has voting power, so apparently it's political power he does want. What I was talking about last month was that I had to serve a cease and desist order on him 2 years ago when I ran for office, because he accused me of committing 15 felonies, and there's people in this room have heard him say that, so, I just don't think he'd be a good candidate to lead our town.
Your precious.
Just to address the legal thing, we've talked about it numerous times. The legal fees were more than they historically have been, because we had to defend the planning board in the lawsuit that was brought to them. I mean, none of that's really new. We've talked about it multiple times.
Go ahead, Pat.
I haven't signed anything.
Here. I'll write your name down for that.
Yeah, I got a broken wing there. My name is Pat Frazee, I'm 4 East Road. I just want to speak up in favor of Tom being appointed superintendent. I think everybody can understand his frustration here tonight. He's acting as a superintendent, yet you want to tie his hands and not let him have a say in it. Remember, what this board should be trying to do is to preserve what the electorate chose. We chose a Republican candidate for our superintendent for a lot of reasons. And I would hate to see it return to the previous administration party and what that brought to the town of Pompey. Now, remember what it says in our charter about the town of Pompey, which I'm not sure that the Democrats understand it. What it says, the purpose is to preserve, protect, and promote agriculture in the town of Pompey. A lot of the policies that the Democrats push forward do not do that. It's in contrary to that, specifically solar. There's no way that agriculture can compete with solar for land values and rent. And for that reason alone, I think Tom can bring stability, and let's untie his hands, and so that frustration doesn't come out in meetings like this. I've talked to Tom many times. Tom will lead this town down the right path. And we're only talking a year anyhow. And so why tie his hands? And I really think that we should step up and bring a little unity to this board and to this town. And I think Tom can do that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, that's the end of the agenda.
Anybody else?
Just have one, maybe it's a solution, I don't know. It's Carol Ann Porto, Poppy Center Road.
Thank you.
Every month they come in about the Heritage Hill issue.
Hmm.
You guys go to Heritage Hill, which is fair, and you see the lights. Now, I think maybe it would make sense to go to their house and get that perspective. It's just like we have those lights that come on, the security lights, they come on and they come off. It's a different perspective when I'm seeing what they're doing as opposed to what they're doing to the neighbors. So maybe that would give everybody a better understanding. I mean, we can just say, oh, it looks this way, or it looks that way. Go actually see what they see and then maybe make a determining factor. I mean, does that make sense?
We did that.
actually did.
Oh, you did, and you didn't see a problem?
You pulled down the street.
I did not go in your driveway, you're correct.
I mean, go in if they would allow you in the house and see their complaint, because it's, it's just, they're saying something, you guys really aren't seeing it from their perspective. Does that make sense, everybody?
I hear you.
Yeah, I think that would make sense. Because my daughter had that issue with the neighbors and they couldn't see it. And then when they went to her house, they're like, oh my gosh, they're blaring right into your house. And then you can get that.
I mean, I'll address this a little bit because I've done even a little bit more investigation on my own too. I did go to their house. They did invite me in their house, not up to their bedroom, but they went in their house. So I did see it. I've looked. The light in the back, which we all went up there and re-looked at. Afterwards, I looked that night, but I also went back with everybody else. The light in the back, which it does show up brighter from their house, looking at it. It's the brightest light you're seeing. But you go up there and look at the thing, it was we look, like, is there anything wrong? It is pointing down. The codes enforcers look, there technically are 3 of them. We asked them about, is there, or I've asked anyways, is it? And when you look at that, if you go around and look at other businesses, other places, even just people's garages, you will find some of the exact same lights on a lot of buildings in a lot of places, so if you step back, if like you go out now and look, you can find probably this, and it will look brighter. It is fairly bright lights, but they are not any different than what some other places have. And that's why they say they are compliant, even though it does show up brighter. I was there, I saw it. It shows brighter than the rest, but it's not out of.
So he's doing it, you're saying, for security purposes?
And it is for, and
I
that
asked
was
them.
discussed.
Okay,
There's
does
no
he
other
have-
light behind their building. He's reduced it, and this is
Right.
Dan's point. He could have. He's got like 3 or 4 of them after. He's reduced it to 1, the one that was the furthest from their place is the one he's left on. But and this is the way it's been presented to me, if he doesn't leave one on, he at night, considering the thing there, he could be held liable for security purposes if something happens around his place. Somebody does wander back, or even though it's dark and gets hurt, he is going to be held legally responsible if for not having proper lighting around the place. So
It's insurance purposes or security purposes?
insurance companies want you to have some security light, especially in a place like that. That's the thing. Now, there are,
Couldn't the lights be shining on the building? So it's not shining away from the building?
it's
Shining
straight
Shining
down.
straight down.
They're shining straight down.
Straight
That they're straight down. They're
I mean, like, as a solution, there could be lights out shining onto the building.
he has, and there is other lights that he's got out back that he only has on when there's an event out there. Them ones there are off now. I don't know if
Does
they
he
always.
have, do you know if he has a security system throughout the building?
I assume.
Okay, that's really I own a restaurant.
I don't-
That's to have a security system is pretty much.
I'm just explaining, you asked
It's better
about it.
than
We
lights,
have, I've really tried looking, and I tried talking with Dan, I really tried to reach out to see if what kind of a solution can we have to this?
It's everything,
And
yeah.
and it's, there's a lot of emotions and feelings in that thing there that is, I would love to see it.
This light is only about 6 months old. So to say that it's a security issue, it's new. So I don't know what has come different. He should have had something behind there all along.
Yeah, maybe. I know he spent a substantial amount of money to be dark sky compliant in my conversations with them.
Well, so then that's something that he should have requested a permit for, right? A new light that would shine so bright, so that it would be.
I don't think he has to get a permit for a light.
That's up to the code enforcement. So we're talking about codes issues. Let's just make it clear, this board appoints a code enforcement officer to administer the code. This board, whether the owner of Heritage Hill does this or that, it's up to the code enforcement officer to determine whether it's a code violation or not. Code enforcement officer determines whether he has a permit or not. So that is solely within the realm of the code enforcement
Right.
officer. It's not within the realm of the town board.
Yeah, this really was out of our, but we're
But you're-
trying to look at it and, because it's been here every month to us, so we really tried to, and early on, we were like, it's just the codes, we ignored it, but we have really tried to put the extra effort into.
I believe they were told they weren't allowed to speak to the codes officer.
Right.
So they can't talk to the codes officer. That's why they come to you guys.
And I can say that I've driven by their house no less than 10 times on different nights, just trying to see if there's other stuff that I can notice that would be an issue. And I understand it's an issue for them. And I can appreciate that. I've seen the same light on every time I drive by.
Okay, we have to go into executive session.
Okay, I make a motion, we go into an executive session.
Yeah, just to discuss an employment matter pertaining to a particular employee.
That's
right.
I need a second.
Second,
Motion made and second, that we go into executive session.
We go into tax assessor's office.
Oh.
Can I end that?
Yeah, we're just gonna come back and adjourn the meeting. Right.